So let's talk about the cost of living crisis, because that's what it is. It's been going on for decades, but today it's more apparent because we've seen Ofgem, which is sort of like the governing body over these multinational corporations for electricity and gas and water, Thames Water here in the UK, EDF, French company, Southern Electric, so on and so forth. They are effectively controlled by the government. Like Ofgem sets the cap, and they just raised the cap. So the solution there is to just lower the cap again, right? But that's not going to happen. So what we need to realise is that we need to offer a solution, and it's the solution that I've been talking about here at newearth.land for a long time, which is simply that we should have a basic right to exist, right? Shelter, energy, food and water, those things should be basic human rights, right? So when we pay tax, what we should be getting in return is shelter, energy, food and water provided to us, right? And we say it's free, but actually we've crowdfunded it, right? We're trying to use the government to crowdfund these things for society. So this is the basic socialist principle that has unfortunately been usurped by a maniacal presence in positions of power. But what's fortunate for us is that we don't need these maniacs. We don't need these politicians. We don't need any petitions to create a better world. We simply need to realise that we are the 99.99 recurring percent on this planet. Right? We are the people, we are the power, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. So all we need to do is come together and reclaim our land by crowdfunding suburban sites or just land anywhere really, and start to reclaim our land and hold it in common and dilute power through the physiological fulfillment of shelter, energy, food and water from the comfort of our own homes, using technologies that are existent today, but we're simply not upgrading our infrastructure with them because we are unaware of like how we can upgrade our society and infrastructure as a result. So what we need to do is ultimately realize that if we could just put our money together, we could crowdfund land, right? This is so powerful because it's an absolute psychological shift in the construction industry. So at the moment, what's happening is rich people are buying land and they are then providing homes for people, right? But they're not really doing it for people, they're doing it for profit first and foremost. So we need to flip that on its head and start to design homes for people, not profit, right? And this is what social housing is all about, but that's been eroded. Okay, so with right to buy and various other bills that are passed in government, we're not going to see this. We're seeing the privatisation of housing, right, which is causing a lot of these escalations in housing, which is what we're talking about here. So what we need to do is realise that the government is never going to help us in this regard, right? They would have helped us by now, okay? All the money that we're pumping into them by way of tax, actually 33%. 20% mostly through tax, depending on what band you're on, but also 12 or 13% in national insurance. So where is this money actually going? Like, surely, if you just think of it from a more macroscopic perspective, and we see that we're on a little rock in space, that money, first and foremost, has to go towards the things that we actually fundamentally, physiologically require for our own existence, doesn't it? Like, surely, what is it we're actually trying to build on this planet? What are we trying to move towards, right? What is the goal, right? We're living in a society where development is everything. Right, but what is the goal? We put our money into like bridges and general infrastructural upgrades. But what does that bridge do? It just allows us a more convenient route or more efficient way of getting to work. Is that really where we want to be? Do we want to be working as much as we are? Like, we're in the rat race, Monday blues, TGI Friday, right? All of these quite scary phrases that have become common parlance in society. We need to start understanding why that is. Why is there so much suffering? Why is there so much depression, anxiety? Why is there so much starvation? Why is there so much incredible pain and misery that we're experiencing on this world? Is simply because the government is not doing what it's meant to be doing, and therefore we need to become the government. We need to realise that we are already the government. We are the people, we are the power, like I said. And so once we can come together and crowdfund our land, you can learn all about this at newearth.land, you will be able to see that this is ultimately the solution. That once we have connected a global mind, if you like, who are sort of all on the same page, where we realise that, hey, if we can do this and work together on a global scale, we can start to create these autonomous co-housing environments that freely provide the basic things we need to exist, so that from this point, centralisation of anything, globalism, is not an agenda. It cannot be fulfilled simply because you already have your independence. You already have shelter, energy, food and water that's going to be provided for you right from where you live, okay? It's not going to be Bill Gates stealing all the farmland, right? And then spoon feeding you GMOs. It's not going to be Monsanto spraying a lot of foods with pesticides, because it'll be growing right from the hydroponic systems within the biomes, within these co-housing environments, which I'm talking about. You can learn all about that at newearth.land, of course. How does this operate? It's going to operate by way of a kind of system in which we crowdfund, and therefore those people go into a lottery, if you like, where they can start to experience this way of life directly by way of subscription, and therefore they will be able to experience these things depending on their general condition, right? So if you're employed, you will be allowed to stay in these spaces for perhaps a month. And if you're misemployed, you'll get a longer tenancy, right? To offer you the time that you need, the respite from this insanity, to turn your life around, right? And if you're homeless, you will have longer contracts, right? So it will be flexible, it will be time-based to begin with. And so as we see that this is, the way forwards, as we see that this is a sort of world that we want to live in, where we have true freedom, abundance and well-being, what we're about to do is roll these out, right, through popular demand. And these contracts, or whatever you want to call them, right, tenancy agreements, that will be short scale to begin with, will get longer and longer and longer until this is simply the way of life, right, on this planet. And we can call it New Earth, we can call it agorism, we can call it post-capitalism, right? People are so consumed with these labels, the left and the right, communism, socialism, capitalism. Let's just sort of throw these out for the time being and trying to see things as they are, right? Imagine yourself on a beach, right, with a few mates. How did you get there? You don't know. You wake up, what are you going to do? You're going to first make shelter, find water, right? Try and generate some electricity, because we've done these things, but we're not doing it for us. It's being done first and foremost for profit, as I alluded to earlier. The only way we can dissolve this excessively individualistic, sort of egoic mindset is by coming together, doing what the government should be doing. Of course, we've got all of the sort of collectivized woke lefties, if you like, whose hearts are in the right places, but they don't realize that we have a psychopathic government at play here, okay? So we can talk about that in other videos more so, but first and foremost, let's first see that we are all human beings. We all absolutely, first and foremost, right, need shelter, energy, food and water. Those are the things that bring us together, right? We need to fulfill self-actualization of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? The bottom there is safety needs, right? Security. Everybody is in the same boat in that regard. So why don't we just come together and end this madness by freely providing ourselves the basic things that we need to exist and live more freely, just like the other species on this planet, right? Will people stop working? Absolutely not, because this is going to be a parallel movement, right? So you will have those four things as human rights, and they will be decommodified: shelter, energy, food and water. But that doesn't mean that anything else will. We'll have a cryptocurrency sort of token-based system above that. But let's balance out what we sort of traditionally call socialism and capitalism. So you can still buy t-shirts, you'll still buy cars if you want one. You'll still buy anything and everything that you want. But first and foremost, let's just give ourselves a foundation, freedom, to go forwards into a better world for everyone. So if you're interested in that, then do visit the website, newearth.land. You can check the why, the what, the how, so on and so forth. You can subscribe. So it's all about connecting, sharing, supporting. The best thing that you can do to help today is to share this with your friends and family, right? We need to now rebuild New Earth. We need to totally just remove the insane system that's currently taking place on this planet, and unfortunately mind controlling people into thinking that they're free. It's sort of an illusion of freedom. It's chains of gold, right? If someone offers you broccoli or sprouts for dinner, is that really a choice, right? If you work in this office or that office, or over here in this plantation or that plantation, is that really freedom? Is that really a choice? It's a restricted, controlled choice, right? So we need to now create true freedom. That is an option for us. That is absolutely an option for us. It might seem inconceivable, but absolutely that's not the case. newearth.land to learn more about this. Thanks very much for watching.